Thank you for joining. I'm Deepu Chandran. I'm the director of IMBA Bangalore chapter and the founder and CEO of Picol. It's a logistics startup. So today we have a unique startup team with us. All of us who have been in Bangalore know the problems that plague the city, from traffic, bad roads, short-sighted waste management policies, and whatnot. Right. So what many may not know is that a 10,000 crore budget is set aside for the BBMP or the Brihad Bangalore Mahanagarapalike, and still the concerns of citizens are seldom addressed. So we have three passionate folks here. They think what BBMP lacks is the political will, and they have set out to change that. So BNP or Bangalore Navnirman Party is a new and unique political movement started by citizens of Bangalore. So quite a few IMB alumni are part of the founding team, and we have three of them here today. BNP is unique because it is focused only on the city of Bangalore, and its mandate is only to contest the municipal elections. So the question that would come to all of our minds is, can a professional outfit like BNP have the potential to disrupt municipal governance? To answer these questions, we have Srikanth, Sridhar, and Rajiv with us. Srikanth Narasimhan is PGP 2000. He's the founder of Vedacom, a leading investment bank in India. And he has over 20 years of well-rounded experience in investment banking and private equity. He is extremely passionate about social and civic issues and has been actively playing, active roles in Bangalore governance through engagement with government and civic agencies. He has been the General Secretary of Bangalore Apartment Federation for over 4 years. As the General Secretary of BAF, Srikanth launched a series of water conservation initiatives in apartments, promoted sustainable and safe living through in-situ composting, rooftop solar, fire safety campaigns, etc. He also worked on building a harmonious and inclusive society through unique initiatives, right? Madhura was one, medical aid for domestic help under residential apartments. That was a group insurance policy for domestic helps. He has also been very active in fighting battles against corruptions and inefficiency in government departments and civic agencies. So before IIM Bangalore, he did his engineering from BITS Pilani. So next we have Sridhar. So Sridhar, PGP 1982, is a doyen in the advertising industry with several accolades to his credit. He is the recipient of Distinguished Alumni Award from IMB. He's a communications consultant, author, columnist, teacher, trainer, cricket enthusiast, and a passionate social activist. After completing over 25 years in advertising and holding various high-profile positions in several advertising firms, Sridhar founded Brandcom in 1998. Brandcom is now part of Madison World, a niche communications company headquartered in Bangalore with 6 offices pan-India. He is the former president of the Advertising Club Bangalore and also a former president of IMB Alumni Association. He was honored by Madras Advertising Club for his service to advertising profession South India and has been awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award for Communicators from Public Relations Council of India in March 2017. He has authored 3 books, including one in Tamil. He is a trained counselor and is a trustee in Vishranti, an old age home. He also started a trust in his mother's name to help educate a girl child. Welcome, Sridhar, to the session.
Thank you.
The third, Rajiv and I go way back from the days we started Imbue. Rajiv runs a seed VC fund called Arali Ventures and invests into enterprise tech companies that are building products for the Indian and global markets. Rajiv spent about 17 years in the corporate world across finance, consulting, and outsourcing before venturing on his own into the world of investment banking and venture capital about 5 years ago. He's also PGP 2000, like Srikanth. he loves Bangalore, entrepreneurship and cricket. I think love for Bangalore is something that has brought all of them together. And they decide to see a better Bangalore, right? So I guess without further delay, we would like to, I'm sure all of us would like to hear from Srikanth, Sridhar and Rajiv about the journey of BNP, how it started, and what is the vision moving forward. So Srikanth, let me pose the first question to you. You have been very active in the civic space, right? So you are very actively engaged with government bodies as a social activist and a civic leader. So why a political party? What made you, decide to start a political party now? And what are the drivers and what is the objective of Bangalore Navnirman Party as you see it?
Yeah. Thanks, Deepu. Thanks for those kind words and the good introduction. Hi, everyone. Deepu just gave a background about me, so I'm not going to delve into that. But I just wanted to talk a little bit around my stint as a General Secretary of Bangalore Apartments Federation over the last 4 years, which in some ways was the precursor to making this shift into the political arena. So as General Secretary of Bangalore Apartments Federation, in fact, one of the reasons why Bangalore Apartments Federation came into existence is because there was ridiculous rule after ridiculous rule after ridiculous rule that was being formulated by the government and the civic agencies, primarily to cover up their own incompetence and inefficiencies in managing the city's solid waste management problem or the lakes problem or all the other issues that we've all been facing. And when that started happening, they found a convenient scapegoat in apartment complexes and apartment residents. That's when a lot of us came together and said, we need to counter this by having a proper body. Many of the rules related to some random cesses and ridiculous charges that they were levying on apartment residents, calling them as bulk consumers, bulk generators of waste, etc. But things got out of hand when they actually asked apartments to put up something which was impossible. They effectively asked apartments to go back in time and build sewage treatment plants in their apartment complexes retrospectively, for which they were never designed in the first place. So while everything else related only to, let's say, having to pay more, this one was an impossible task. So we got together and said, this is something that old apartments cannot do. We welcome sewage treatment plants in newer apartments, but it's not possible to do it in old apartments. Believe it or not, the government just refused to listen to us. They said, we don't care. The city's lakes are in horrible shape. Bellandur Lake is on fire. We need to be seen as taking some action. So you guys go and put up sewage treatment plants. We don't care if it's impossible. That took us by shock and by surprise. And it was a long battle, 1 year battle that we kept on waging. We went to the courts. We engaged with government, civic agencies, ministers, MLAs, officials, right up to the CM level. Nobody was interested in listening to logic, reason, rationale, nothing. And that's when we finally said there is something else that we need to do. We finally decided that there was only one way we can make them listen. We have to get people out. So we actually organized a protest, a rally of apartment residents. I still distinctly remember the date, December 2nd, 2017. We took out a protest all across Bangalore. About 10,000, more than 10,000 people came out onto the streets, saying that this rule is just ridiculous, it doesn't change anything, and it's just impossible to comply with. 10,000 people coming onto the streets was a first for Bengaluru. It hadn't seen a protest of that scale at that point of time. And believe it or not, despite 1 year having elapsed when we are doing this battle on multiple fronts, we were not able to make any headway. One single protest got the entire machinery together. So within 2 weeks, again I remember distinctly the date, December 14th, 2017, the Bengaluru Development Minister, the Home Minister, the Mayor of Bengaluru, the Karnataka Pollution Control Board Chairman, the BBMP Commissioner, the BWSSB Chairman, and a bunch of officials all coming together in one single meeting. They calling us for a meeting and a presentation. They asked us, what do you want? We said we want the rule to be reversed because it's impossible to comply with and it just doesn't make any sense. And it took all of 1 minute for them to take a decision and annul that ridiculous rule. Speaking for myself, it was a defining moment for me. I realized that people power works brilliantly well when it comes to this, and nothing else works. When it comes to elected representatives, you can talk as much of logic and reason and rationale, nothing works. The judiciary also doesn't work well when it comes to matters like this. People power works very well. So that was, I would say, one very, very important and defining moment for me. But it still didn't sow the seed for a political foray at that point of time. We were just happy that people power worked. But over the next 2 years, as we kept on working on these various initiatives that you just talked about, Deepu, water conservation measures, solid waste management efforts, what we were realizing was every single initiative that we were doing, what we realized was the elected representatives, the corporators, MLAs, not only were they not collaborating with us, they were actively working to counter that. Can you believe that? We were trying to work on sustainability measures. We were working on solid waste management initiatives. For example, we in apartment complexes segregate garbage 100%. The contractor, who's most often a benami of the corporator, comes, mixes that waste and dumps it in a lake or a landfill. And this is all done by the corporator. And if we try to shift to a professional contractor, today there are a few of them that exist, including by paying money which is 10 times more, the corporator comes and threatens people saying that if you go away from the contractor that I engage, I'll make sure that I'll create problems for you. I think that was an even bigger defining moment as far as I was concerned and many others were concerned. So here we were as citizens trying to make a difference to the city, whether it is water conservation or energy management or solid waste management. These guys were actively working towards preventing us from doing that. And as part of this, I realized that I was interacting with a lot of other citizen groups. The citizen groups that were all working towards making Bengaluru better, pretty much the experience was the same. Bangalore is, I would say, among the most active cities when it comes to citizen activism and civic participation. And Deepu, you have been very active in your area trying to do that as well. I don't need to tell you this. It's the same story everywhere. We as citizens try to talk logic, try to talk sense. The elected representatives actively work to prevent us from doing that. And that's when the idea of getting into the political arena came up. We said it's time for us to get into governance. How long are we going to continue to fight this battle, this futile battle from outside? Unless we get into the system, unless we become part of the system, unless we drive governance from inside, the realization was that things were not going to move. So I would say that was the genesis of Bengaluru Navanirmana Party. Quite a few citizens from different citizen groups. There is Citizens for Bengaluru, Bangalore Apartment Federation, there is Whitefield Rising, Pothole Raja. There are a bunch of various citizen groups who have all been active. The citizen groups by themselves are politically neutral, they're apolitical. But many of us who've been driving the activities of these citizen groups, we all said, we need to come together. And these are the people who have come together to start Bengaluru Navanirmana Party. And the objective is very simple. We want to keep our focus very, very clear, crystal clear on Bengaluru, and even more importantly, only on municipal governance. We do not want to contest MLA elections, MP elections. We are not interested in national issues, state issues. The only thing that this party will focus on, and I don't think there's any other party in India that exists today with this kind of a focus, that is to make a change at the grassroots. So we said, this is a party focused only on Bengaluru and municipal governance with a very clear focus and objective of bringing sustainability, bringing balanced development, bringing inclusive development to Bengaluru with a very simple ideology of good grassroots governance without any distractions, without anything else that we will get our attention diverted on. So that is the genesis of Bengaluru Navanirmana Party. We have already identified more than 50 good citizens who want to now contest as corporators in their respective wards, get into BBMP, and start bringing about the change that we've all been desiring and the city is deserving of. That's in a nutshell about why we started Bengaluru Navanirmana Party and what the whole party is all about. Thanks, Deepu, for giving the opportunity to present what we are looking to do. Over, back to you.
Thank you, Srikant. So, having worked with government bodies, like you said, on civic activism, it is good that you decided to say enough is enough and to get on to this bandwagon of fighting them, politically. But I have a question to both Sridhar and Rajiv. So traditionally, the educated class or professionals have stayed away from the political arena. So, what interested you in BNP, and why are you guys part of it?
Shall I go, Rajiv?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think the starting point would be the love for Bangalore. To take you back in time, on the 1st of July, which would be tomorrow, 40 years ago, 1980, I came to Bangalore to join IIM. And, I had come from Madras, or Chennai as it is called today. And, the heat and the humidity of Madras. You come in the Brindavan in the afternoon and it's wintry skies, it's everything. And the bus takes us through Rose Garden in Jayanagar. And I said, this is the place I want to live in. It's Bangalore has been such a beautiful place. And in front of us in the last 40 years, you've seen the deterioration of the city and the disintegration of basic amenities. And it's a beautifully planned city which is sort of going to seed. And it's unfortunate because there's a lack of political will and there's a lack of competence to run this. And I think the problem with the educated class to a large extent, and I have been guilty of this in the past, is that too often you're happy to be in the sidelines and write on Twitter or Facebook saying that this is not okay or that's not okay. And you really can't do anything from the outside. So I felt that there's an opportunity to do something more than anything else because you had the passion of Srikant to drive this, and he was able to find like-minded people. More importantly, people who were already, getting their hands dirty in their respective wards, doing work on specific issues that were close to their heart. And I think this Bangalore has been a great example of what the collective will and the time of people who are committed can do, because there are so many gaps in the system. And Srikant already spoke about organizations like Whitefield Rising and quite a few others. So I felt that there's a great opportunity for us to actually get into this and do something, because it's quite easy to talk about it and we've all been guilty of this. So I think the time is right. The only risk we run, and we'll talk about that a little later if we have the time, is that we don't want to be seen as an elitist party, which is the reason why we have so many people who have experience, who are working at the ward level, who can actually make a difference. So I think it's, commitment and honesty are things which are very rare in this arena that we are getting into, and hopefully we will fill the gap and find more like-minded people. Even from IIM, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are unhappy with what's happening, and we'd like them to sort of, put their hand to the wheel.
Rajiv?
Yeah, I think, the love for Bangalore, when I was smiling when Sridhar was talking about, the breeze and all of that when he came from Chennai. I grew up in this city. And when I went to campus, which was 98 to 2000, which is actually, not that long ago, well, it's 20 years, but, I still remember that you would, the auto driver would refuse to come from now Dairy Circle to the institute. And, it was like outside of town. And so I've grown up here. I have seen the city from what it was in the mid 80s, early 90s to now. And like Sridhar said, when BNP was founded, the reason I was drawn to it from the perspective of Bangalore was it's always easy, and I personally believe that it's easy to criticize and say, hey, we can do better. I always believe that I don't even have the ability to say that because I don't even know how some of these processes work. I don't understand urban governance. So to me, when BNP was formed, this was an opportunity for me to learn and to understand processes of urban governance, to understand how does BBMP function, what's in its scope, what is not in its scope. And that's the reason I kind of volunteered and become a part of this cause. And that learning itself is very interesting, right? And hopefully for a lot of you listening, if if there is curiosity, and the reality is a lot of us don't understand, right? So that is one. Two is being a venture capital fund that invests in startups. Very clearly, the day Srikanth told me that he started on this journey of BNP, it clearly was and is a startup in that sense. So I'm always fascinated by David versus Goliath battles. I spent the better part of my corporate career working and building an Indian outsourcing firm, fighting against the IBMs and the Accentures of the world. So that's been a recurring theme in my life. So to me, this was one more fascinating journey of how a startup, political party is going to possibly try and build its identity against larger entities. And last but not the least, just in terms of execution, winnability, in something like BBMP and the Bangalore city, one could put, you can put your arms around it. Coming from like I said, I worked in an outsourcing company. Running a ward in Bangalore city is almost like running a business unit, the P&L of a business unit in a larger company. Why do I say that? Right? It is operations intensive. It's people involved, and there is a lot of coordination. There's a lot of people management. But that's pretty much what it is, right? It is fairly ring fenced and controlled in scope. So to that extent, I believe that there are learnings that a lot of us and a lot of people, a lot of you who've joined, where those learnings can be leveraged. Unlike, let's say, assembly election, Lok Sabha or a Vidhan Sabha, which is possibly very much wider in scope, and there are very, very different processes and things in play. So to me, this also just seems stuff that people like us, people like Srikanth and Sridhar and their entire governing council could chew off. And to me, hence that sounded credible, and hence could support.
So taking from where Rajiv left, Rajiv spoke about the learnings that happens in a startup. Okay, I can't agree more. Being in a startup, but a startup brings with it a lot of other challenges, right? So you need to get traction. You need investments to make it happen. You need to get a lot of interested people aligned. So how is a political startup, and what are the challenges that you have faced in setting a political startup, Srikanth?
Deepu, I think you pretty much talked about three aspects, and I'm going to take it exactly along those lines. People, traction, and investments. I think those are the three challenges that you broadly talked about, and let me take it along those same lines. A political startup, unlike a commercial startup, there is no financial gain involved in this. And we are not in a position to hire employees. This is all going to be significantly volunteering. So I think the first big challenge is about attracting people to the cause. I would say that that's the first big challenge. There, what sort of muddies the waters a little bit more is that there is a lot of, I would say, anger. There's a lot of aversion towards politics as far as people are concerned. Most people do not want to be even remotely associated with a political party. It's become a taboo word. So how do we attract people to a cause and get them to, let's say, be emotionally connected with the cause is, I think, the first big challenge. That's really where we've been spending a lot of time in trying to explain to people that this is not like any other political party. This is comprised of people who are educated, professional, honest, with integrity, commitment, and that passion for Bengaluru. Right? I think pretty much everybody's been saying the same thing, not just Sridhar and Rajiv here. Pretty much anybody who's part of this the one thing that connects everyone who's part of this movement is that passion and love for Bengaluru. So that's really what we wanted to do, right? So effectively telling people that this is not, don't look at it as a political party. If you are finding the word political party a little bit, I would say, uncomfortable, look at it as a citizens movement. Let's look at it as a citizens movement where good citizens are looking to contest elections. I think that's worked reasonably well. I think many people are willing to be associated with the cause in some way or the other. I don't think we've had too big a challenge in getting people to be excited about the idea or getting connected to the cause. That brings me to the second aspect that you talked about, traction. Now we have to build traction. Now, what exactly do we mean by traction in this? We need people to be taking part in the core activities, helping spread the message, taking part in various campaigns that we need to initiate, in general, being part of the whole process so that the momentum, the traction builds up. That's the area where we've been finding an even bigger challenge. I don't think we've had too big a challenge in convincing people that this is the right thing to do. But once people come on board, getting their time, many people are working professionals. Many people have their families to take care of. And many people that we are dealing with are intrinsically associated with some social activity or social cause or the other. So now asking them to take time away from all of those activities and devoting time for this has been one big challenge. But then I would like to look at it as glass half full rather than the glass half empty, because there are a lot of people, many women, right? I think the most heartening thing for me is there are people in our core group, there are ladies who juggle between their jobs, home and social activities and still are contributing a lot of time to the party and are potentially going to contest as corporators as well. So that's been great, from our perspective. I think that's what gives us the energy and the motivation. But having said that, we need more and more people to contribute their time. The fact that Deepu, you run a startup, Sridhar has his own bunch of things, Rajiv is running a startup. The fact that you've all been devoting a lot of time for this itself is testimony to the fact that we deeply care about this city and we bring that passion to bear. So traction, we would want it to be a lot more, but I would say that we got to live with and work with what we have. And so far, so good is all that I can say. If this can slowly start getting translated into a larger citizens movement with a lot more people contributing, I think it takes a different color and a different hue of its own. So that's the second part. The third part, as you said, funding. We are not here as a party which is just saying we have this ideology and we have it on paper and we want it to be theoretical. We ultimately want to win the election. If we have to bring about grassroots change, we've got to win elections. And if we want to win elections, we've got to have financial muscle behind us. And we want to do it in an absolutely clean and transparent manner. And if we've got to do that, we've got to have a lot of people contributing money. And unlike, let's say, a typical commercial venture where you'll reach through to venture capitalists or, let's say, angels who can contribute big chunks, we are still reaching out to people who can contribute big chunks. But let's say if you're able to get contributions in thousands, in the tens of thousands, in the few lakhs of rupees each from different individuals who can afford it, that's what we're looking for. We need all the financial muscle and weight behind that. So far, we've been able to get commitments of about 50 lakhs. And this is just from about 25 to 30 people, right? People contributing anywhere between 1 lakh to 5 lakhs each. Again, primarily coming from the passion that they have. But we need to translate this 50 lakhs into 20 crores. I believe that we need at least 20 crores to contest the BBMP elections in a meaningful way. So that's something that we need to sort of drive on a much larger scale and get more and more people into it. So I would say in most of these aspects that you talked about, whether it's people or traction or financial commitment, I think we've had a good start. I think we've had some good initial momentum, but I would say that we are probably 5-10% of the way there. We will need to traverse a much larger path on this, and we'll need the support of everybody to get it done. That's what I would say, Deepu, on that question that you asked.
Okay. So good to see that a lot of folks are devoting time, and I'm sure that you will need more. So one of the things that you need to get right is the branding strategy for the party itself, right? So Sridhar, you have led a lot of branding campaigns for various companies in the past. So how do you look at what are the success factors for BNP, and how do you how do you look at branding strategy for a political party itself, or is it even possible?
Oh, I think it's definitely possible if you look at many of the big successful political campaigns they have built around a very powerful, tagline, whether it's a Garibi Hatao or labor isn't working for the Conservative Party. So, and if you look down south at some of the parties like DMK or whatever, they've used colors and all to a great extent. So, the average voter uh, is even till very recently was also very illiterate. So the power of symbols also matters a lot. So I think, whilst those are things that can be done, the greater challenge for us is educating people that they actually need to come out and know which is their ward and vote. So that is the bigger challenge. When it is an MP election or an MLA election, I'm sure people are more, aware. So awareness itself is an issue. I think we also need to, and we have been talking about this internally, not to be seen as an elitist or, guys from outside who are trying to do something in Bangalore. So I think it's very important that we actually immerse ourselves in the local culture and milieu. And this is really what we have been doing. And Srikanth spoke about this in terms of the choice of the candidates, etc., so that there is a local flavor and feel. These are people who are actually doing something at the ward level and are recognized within that community of voters. So I think the appeal will come from the fact that we are people who have done something in different sectors, who have no axe to grind other than the well-being of the city. I think that's the key message that we'd like to drive. Of course, all have to be refined and reviewed in terms of what the competition will be saying at that point of time. But I think it is possible. I think, there is a people also are looking for change. When my idea was that even if we are able to demonstrate, uh, you know, honest, clean candidates who actually make a difference in a few constituencies, we'll make a big difference. Because I think what Srikanth has been saying and what we have all been believing is that we are really there for the long haul. Maybe nothing will happen next year. But if we are here to show people that there is a possibility that you back people like us who have only your well-being at heart, I'm sure it will work. So it's I don't know if I've answered your branding question, but it's a slow process. As Srikanth said, we are 5-10% of the way, and we are well aware of the task at hand. And money will be an important part to this whole thing. So I think we know the task is cut out for us, but I'm quite sure that we have the will to try and do our best.
Okay. No, Rajiv, as a VC, right? You have been a VC who invests in startups. Right? So now this is a political startup, right? So, as a VC, what are the challenges you see in terms of raising funds for the startup, or people investing in the startup, or even, use of funds, how the startup would, uh, BNP would need to use those funds to achieve the objectives that they have set out for themselves?
Sure. So I think obviously, like Srikanth said, the context is different, right? This is in that sense not a commercial startup. I think and I'm just looking at the screen, and there are a few people who seem to be curious. I saw some questions saying, why do you need money to contest elections? And some of the people are saying, I'm curious about the cost heads and things like that. So I'll kind of hit a couple of those points as I talk through this question, saying that the money is definitely required. I think one of the cornerstones of this part of this initiative is about transparency, is about governance, and is about action, right? I think transparency and action is key. And I think in terms of use of funds, that is something that this initiative and this party will, since it is such a cornerstone of the value system of the party, that is something that is dear to them, and they will constantly ensure that there is full transparency in both raising of funds and in usage and deployment of funds. And like Srikanth said, I think the big two challenges, which honestly is there for many startups, is team and money, right? On team, again, I saw a question saying, is part-time effort possible? Yes, part-time effort is possible. In fact, there are a lot of people who are devoting, doing part-time volunteering, doing various things. It can be as simple as being a spark for your community that you live in. It can spark for the organization that you're in, and things like that. So I think the two big challenges, Deepu, to answer your question, I think the ability to constantly grow the network of people, because in this case the people are the asset, right? So to constantly grow that would be the biggest asset for the party. The second thing is to constantly be able to raise capital, and I think for an initiative like this, at least in its infancy, possibly for the next 6 to 18 months, a lot of this is going to be about crowdfunding. It is going to be about like-minded people coming together and being able to contribute small sums of money that they believe they would want to contribute for this cause, but also leverage their networks and their sphere of influence to be able to pass this message to their networks, so that all of them could also contribute, assuming that they believe in this cause. So I think people and funding are the two big challenges, and one of the reasons I think Srikanth and the core team wanted to do this session is to be able to reach out, because I think this community, this audience can help in both dimensions.
So, next question is about your similarity with AAP, the party that won Delhi elections, right? So, the people involved make it very similar to an Aam Aadmi party. So, how do you differentiate yourself? In Bangalore, also many would be thinking of this as as very, very similar to what, and looking at what AAP achieved, people will be equating you to an app experiment. So how do you differentiate yourself, and how do you look at yourself, Srikanth?
Deepu, I don't think we look at ourselves as being similar to Aam Aadmi Party at all. Yes, in terms of some of the outcomes, in terms of some of the ideologies, in terms of bringing proper governance, etc., I think there are definitely some similarities there. But at a fundamental level, I think we are very different. And the reason is as follows. Number one, we are a city party. We are not interested in national issues. We are not interested in state issues. We are not interested in those politics which are there. So which means we are able to bring about a very clear, crystal clear focus on city governance. So we don't have to immerse ourselves in other issues that do not concern us, because even today I see even the Bengaluru Aam Aadmi Party team has to keep posting on national issues and all that, and I keep wondering, the Aam Aadmi Party Bengaluru team, why do they have to even think about those things? All that we are interested in is how do we set right the city's garbage problem. All that we are interested in is how do we set right the city's lakes. All that we are interested in is how do we set right the city's roads and potholes and streetlights and so on. So when you're able to bring that focus into what you're doing, I think it makes a huge difference. And we can see that happening within the party, because people every now and then keep asking, should we take a stance on Citizenship Amendment Act? What about this India-China skirmish? And we say we don't have anything to do with it as a party. As an individual, you are free to hold your views on that. But as a party which is focused on municipal governance, we don't need to bring about any stance or any issues that we need to bring out on those fronts at all. So that's a huge difference that we have from Aam Aadmi Party. Second, it's quite unfortunate that Aam Aadmi Party is now seen as yet another political party in many circles. Partly true and partly not true. The true part of it is that it's a reality today that Aam Aadmi Party also has contributed to polarizing the electorate further, of an electorate which is already significantly polarized. Today, people can't sit across the table and talk on issues that matter to us. I think that's a huge change that we are trying to bring. As a party, our positioning is very simple. We are saying, in fact, this is a party which says we don't care whether you are affiliated or aligned to a BJP or a Congress or an Aam Aadmi party. If your interest is to bring about a change to Bengaluru, let's all unite under the umbrella of Bengaluru as far as the municipal elections are concerned. Beyond that, we are not going to contest the MLA elections or MP elections. Go back to your affiliation. So when that happens, we are able to unite the BJP supporters who care for Bengaluru, a lot of them are there. Congress supporters who care for Bengaluru, a lot of them are there. Aam Aadmi Party supporters who care for Bengaluru, a lot of them are there. We are able to unite all of them. And I think that's a huge difference between an Aam Aadmi Party or a BJP. I believe every party has its own good things and bad things about it. But I think from our perspective, we are able to bring about a change in the whole narrative. Rather than continuing to polarize people further and further, we are here trying to unite people for the singular cause of better municipal governance. And I think that's another huge change that is there. And lastly, I think Aam Aadmi Party was an inorganic movement. It came out of the India Against Corruption movement. And because of that, I think, this is my view, I think they personally became extremely ambitious. I think if they kept their focus on Delhi and Delhi alone, and I think they've done some good stuff there in Delhi, they could have showcased that and then tried to see if they could do something more. But I think in a hurry to try to do too many things at the same time, I think they ended up antagonizing a lot of people. They started focusing on too many things that were beyond their purview, because of which it started causing a lot of problems for their own sake, right? So all that I will say is that we are a party which is completely different from even an Aam Aadmi Party. We are an organic movement of Bengaluru citizens, focused only on Bengaluru and municipal governance, and with a very unique proposition of uniting people of Bengaluru and not dividing them for the cause of the city that we are all striving to, make better. I don't know whether it answers the question, Deepu, but I think, speaking for myself, we are completely different from an Aam Aadmi Party.
Thank you, Srikanth, for that. I think we are opening it up for questions. So if you want to post it directly to Srikanth, Sridhar, or Rajiv, you can raise your hand. But anyway, I can see a lot of questions that have come on the chat. So I will, since Rajiv tried to address the question about why funds are required for a political party, I'll move on to the next one. In case that is not addressed well, you can probably, raise your hand and post it directly for better clarity. So the first question that I would like to pose is from Hari Natarajan. I am not sure whether he is from PGP 2000, because I saw in one of his comments he said glad to see two folks from PGP 2000 in this initiative. His question is primarily about the need for a core team who is 100% on this. I think the part-time part was addressed by Rajiv earlier. So his question is, don't we need a core team who is 100% full-time focused on BNP?
So should I go?
Yes,
I can set the context, and probably Sridhar and Rajiv, we can add to it. Yes, we need a core team which is 100%. I've taken a complete break from work. I'm not drawing a single rupee of salary for the last many months. I believe that this initiative, this endeavor needs 100% dedicated time, energy, efforts, resources, and attention. So I wanted to set the whole ball rolling by saying, I want to devote at least about a year to 2 years of my life without earning a single rupee of salary for a cause that I'm very passionate about. But the problem is, not too many people can do it. Today, at least, I can say that I've created a decent safety nest for the family. There is a possibility that I can take a break and still be comfortable with it. But beyond a point, it will start pinching me as well. So I'll have to get back into some mode of earning some money. So it's difficult for people to come out of it. But having said that, as I said, there are a lot of people who are making similar sacrifices for this city, for the cause that we believe in. We need more and more such people. Yes, ultimately, if you have about 50 to 100 people, let's say part of the core team, who are able to devote full time to this, And there are quite a few people who are taking sabbatical from work, like I've done, and many others are trying to do this. I think that itself is a huge movement. And once the elections are over, I think people can get back into part-time mode. But I would say that 6 to 12 months before the elections, we will need a lot of people who can potentially take a break from work and devote, if not 100%, at least 80 to 90% of their time towards that. Probably Rajiv and Sridhar can add further to that.
I think
Yeah, I think, Rajiv, please.
No, go ahead, Sridhar. I was saying there are lots of questions. Maybe we should take other questions, but please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can. Yeah,
I think Shishir has raised his hand. So Shishir, I am unmuting you. So please ask your question.
Thanks, Deepu. Is my voice audible?
Yeah, you are
I
audible.
will enable my camera also, so it becomes easy. I don't know. Okay, so thanks for giving me an opportunity to ask the question. And I see a passion in Srikanth when he's saying that he's really working to for a cause in Bangalore. So my problem is I'm a North Indian guy, and I am here for my job, and I love the city, but I don't think I have as good the passion as Srikanth is. And the second challenge I find is I don't know the local language. So if I have to contribute it, I just want to know how I can contribute with this group.
Srikanth can answer that.
Yeah. Just to clarify, my native is Chennai, and I didn't know Kannada for many years. I only started learning Kannada in the last few years. Even now, I can't speak Kannada very fluently. And I don't think that's a constraint at all. With regard to the other point that you mentioned, Shishir, about passion, yeah, that's something that we can't create for you, right? You got to feel passionate. Otherwise, I don't think you will be able to contribute to the cause. All that I can say is that the problems that we face in Bengaluru, it doesn't matter whether you're a North Indian or a South Indian or from East India or West India. It impacts all of us the same. The reality is the city is running out of water. The reality is the issues of dengue and all that we are seeing, forget COVID right now. The issue of dengue every year, and this is not about the lower strata of the society. I've seen people, close friends, who've been on the verge of dying because of dengue as well. And that happens because the city's garbage management is in pretty bad shape. We see pothole related accidents which take lives.
Yeah.
We see lakes which are on fire. We see lakes which are completely polluted, and we are drinking water from that. And all these issues do not distinguish between North Indians and South Indians. All these issues do not distinguish between natives and non-natives. These issues do not distinguish between Kannadigas and non-Kannadigas. They impact all of us equally. So I think if we have to bring about a change to these issues, and these are all grassroots issues which are directly under the purview of BBMP, we've got to have good people coming in. So if you can develop passion based on, or forget about passion. If you're concerned about, let's say, you having to spend the next few years in Bengaluru, and more importantly for me, I'm extremely scared what is going to happen to my children. I want them to continue to live in Bengaluru because it's a great city. Forget about passion. If there's a fear factor that each of us have in us, I think we better start doing this. That's all that I can say. Whether it's passion or fear that drives us, we've got to do this for the city, for ourselves, and for our children.
I think there are, from Shishir also asked about how can he contribute, and many people have asked about how to volunteer. There is a form that is I posted before. Probably you can use that to express your interest, and the team will
Get back to you.
post it. I will post it again. Moving on to the next question, Jayaraman Sambamurthy and Hari Natarajan have asked two connected questions. So I will try to combine both. Can you tell us how you plan to engage and convince the common citizen of Bangalore? So the next question from Hari Natarajan is, to add to the above, to avoid being a purely elitist party, what are some of the issues of other segments of society that you are focusing on? Right. I think during the discussions also, you mentioned multiple times that you're not an elitist party. So these questions are connected to how you are planning to build citizen connections, and also understand the issues that you are taking up, which will help others understand that you are not an elitist party as some perceive.
Srikanth, you
Again,
want
very-
to? Yeah.
Yeah. A very simple answer to that. I talked about the few defining moments as to why I got in. The other defining moments when we engage with our neighboring slums, and there are slums all across, right? The slum that is there in my locality is 200 meters away from the apartment that I live in. So we have this level to that level all within a 200-meter radius, right? And the reality, there are 300 hutments there. They don't have a proper dwelling. And forget about anything else. This slum dwelling that we are talking of has been in existence for 20 years. That dwelling, 300 hutments, 300 families, people, migrant laborers who have come from Yadgir district, who are construction laborers here, they don't have a toilet still in their slum. People there defecate in the open still. And we are talking of Swachh Bharat. And the interesting thing is, the MLA, the corporator, the MP in my area, they're all from the same party which rules this country and which rules the state. I don't want to make it political right now, but the reality is, for all the talk that happens on the ground, the situation is really bad. So we've been engaging with these communities, distributing groceries at the beginning of the lockdown. We've been distributing masks. Recently, we've been running a campaign, Surakshita Bengaluru. It's there on our site. We want people to contribute to that. We've distributed a lot of masks. And our promise to those communities is that, and we've been engaging with them. We've been asking, right, haven't you been able to reach through to your corporate and MLA? And all that they say is they don't even want to listen to us. The only time that they come there is the day before the election to distribute 2,000 rupees, 2,500 rupees, 3,000 rupees per head to get their vote. And for them, they haven't seen anything different. So whether it's X party or Y party, it's all the same for them. So they just take that money and vote for whoever has given them the money. It's a sad reality. So we are engaging with them very closely. We have built teams in about 75 wards. In each ward, we are asking people to engage with the slums, distribute masks, distribute provisions, which people have been doing in our ward leadership teams. And as part of that, we are engaging with them, trying to explain to them why there is a need for a change. They intuitively understand that because they know that the corporators don't come, the MLAs don't come. They see people like us coming there as citizen groups, now as BNP. Whether that will change things when elections come, we really don't know. But as Sridhar rightly said right up front, we are here for the long run. We want to win their trust over a period of time. We will show that we are here with genuine intent. We are here to make a difference to their lot also. And we want to make sure that they understand that society can be united by people living in all strata of the society. And as we speak, day after tomorrow, we are having calls we are having a call with about 20 people belonging to the SC, ST, OBC category who want to potentially contest elections. People belonging to a strata of the society that we do not typically engage with. And we are trying to convince a lot of fantastic on the ground people living in slums who've been involved in health camps, education camps, garbage clearance camps, etc. in their respective localities. They are afraid. They are not sure whether they can make an impact. But our job is to convince those kind of people to contest elections as well. So we are not an elitist party at all. We will be having candidates cutting across spectrum. We'll be having people going to all these sections of the society and convincing them that we are here for everybody. And just as one last thought, it's not just the lower strata of the society that we want to represent. We want to represent the animals, the trees, the lakes, the environment. We don't want to represent just the voiceless among the human being categories. We want to represent the voiceless, the truly voiceless categories, stakeholders of the city, the trees, the lakes, the animals, and the environment as well. So we are truly looking to unite all stakeholders of the city. We are hoping to make an impact in the upcoming elections itself, but we are here for the long run.
Let me pose you this question from Sridhar Jayaraman. So his question is connected to the involvement. So people are aligned to some party or the other, and political parties are also involved in civic elections.
Yes.
So the question is, how do you expect other party men to come together to support you, even though your cause is good?
Shall I go on that, Srikanth?
Rajiv, you want to take that? You've been interacting with people in your area.
Sridhar is going, I think. Sridhar, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I'll start. My thing is like this. I agree completely with you on this, but people are also seeing that the city is actually going to see, and they realize that this point I think Srikanth made earlier. Irrespective of which political party is governing, you find that there is absolutely nothing being done on any front, and you get the feeling that this person doesn't really care or whatever. So I think this is, as I said, this whole process is a bit of education. We are starting by telling the people that these elections are different. This is about your own immediate welfare. It's about your neighborhood. It's about your health. So I think, as I said, it's a process, and we're starting with education and impressing them. So it's going to be a slow haul, but I think people will realize that the people in power haven't really done anything over the years. So why not try something which will give them a chance? I think it might work that way.
Rajiv, do you want to take it?
Yeah, no, I don't want to add anything, but I just want to. I mean, it is guerrilla warfare in that sense, right?
Absolutely.
There are no easy steps here. We have to go individual by individual, community by community. It's going to be hard. I'm just going to leapfrog from there, Deepu, if with your permission, and I'll connect two other questions that have come up, and I want Srikanth to talk about it, saying that. I think two questions with a similar theme, saying there is a lot of cynicism on such initiatives. Nandan Nilekani came with a certain background and he lost his election. I think, Srini said, Srini meant comment that in Chennai there was a political party, IIT graduates.
Lok Paritran.
Correct. They lost the election. So, this is hard. Are you guys, most likely you might lose. Are you guys going, are you there for the long run? All of this, right? So, Srikanth, I wanted to talk about one thing, which is what does it take? I mean, I think you should address the larger questions, but I think a lot of us do not recognize what is the complexion of a ward? How many votes are there? What does it take to win a Bangalore ward election? Srikanth, maybe you should just talk about that, and then from there talk about some of the other issues around cynicism and are you guys in it for the long run kind of thing.
Right. Hey, thanks, Rajiv, for bringing that. And for Srini, who posted that question, the first time I voted in elections was in the 2006 election to Lok Paritran. I indeed very distinctly remember I was in Chennai at that time. I voted for that party. And yes, there have been subsequent efforts and initiatives. Again, I bring the whole discussion back to the fundamental thing, right? This is about municipal elections. And this is where I think people don't understand the difference. The reason why we are staying away from MLA and MP elections is because MLA MP elections are very, very difficult to win. You need tens of thousands of votes to a few lakhs of votes. And mobilizing that, and that too, connecting on causes that people cannot really relate to is very difficult. Whereas when it comes to municipal elections, I think, Rajiv, you touched upon a very important point. Not too many people know this. I keep asking this question to people. I ask people, do you know how many votes does it take to win a ward in Bengaluru? And many people don't know that. I've had people answering 30,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, 1.5 lakhs. Many people don't know this. It takes not more than 7,000 to 8,000 votes to win a ward. It's about 80 lakh voters in Bangalore, spread over about 200 wards, 40,000 voters in a ward, about 50% vote, 20,000. You need about 7,000 to 8,000 to win a ward. And brace yourself for an even more interesting thing. In the last BBMP elections, there were many wards which were won with less than 5,000 votes. I think we need to have that very clearly in our mind. It takes hardly a few thousand votes. Not that it's easy, but it's not as tough as people imagine it to be. And Nandan Nilekani, all said and done, won something like 3.4 lakh votes. Let's not look at it as a failure, right? Winning 3.4 lakh votes is extremely difficult, but he managed to accomplish that. As against that, we are talking of a few thousand votes in every ward. And this is really what I want people to understand. And more importantly, we are not jumping into this blindly. I can't fail-proof myself or the others against stupidity. We can always be that. but I don't think I'm stupid to jump into this without thinking through this, or so many others jumping into this without thinking through this. Just to give you a sense of perspective, Bangalore Apartments Federation that we are talking of which I've been the general secretary, I think I built a lot of credibility there. We have 750 apartment complexes with about 1.5 lakh households, with about 5 lakh people living in those households, in which we can run campaigns. We have brought thousands of people onto the streets as part of our campaigns. A Citizens for Bengaluru has a grassroots reach into lakhs of people. Federation of Villa Communities has reach. We have other NGOs, people who are taking active part in this, who have access to these slum communities. We've already reached through to communities where we have distributed tens of thousands of masks. So I think we have a lot of connect at the grassroots level. This must be bravado coming from me at this point of time, but we believe that we have an extremely good chance of winning at least 20 wards out of 200 wards in the upcoming elections. People might find it crazy, but we believe that with the grassroots connect that we have in many wards, and in some wards where we have access to some at least 20 to 30,000 people, where we need only 7,000 to 8,000 votes, we believe we stand a great chance. It might not be very apparent today, but through the grassroots connect that we have built with people, and with the fact that we need only a few thousand votes to win the wards, we believe that we have a great chance in many wards. And in many of these wards, the people who are going to contest are people who have been doing work on the ground. People can relate to them in those wards. With that, I think it's not such a tough task. It's not an easy task, but it's not such a tough task either for people to do this. So it's a very important point for people to know. I think it's eminently doable. It's not easy, but it's doable.
A good question.
Just want to add one thing, Srikanth. So also, if you look at the math, in a typical ward or in a typical assembly segment, whether it's an assembly election or a Lok Sabha election in Bangalore, the voting percentage ranges from 49 to 59%. The equivalent voting percentage for a BBMP election in the same ward, in the same assembly segment, is somewhere in the 25 to 30% range, right? Maybe lower. So you have about 20 to 25% voters, people like you and me, right? And I can look each of us directly in the eye and say, they are people like you and me who are aware of Vidhan Sabha elections, who are aware of Lok Sabha elections, but I can make a safe guess that less than 25% of the people on this Zoom call have voted ever for a BBMP election, right?
Yeah.
So if people like you and I just turn up and vote,
Yes.
right? Vote for whichever candidate, I think we will make a dramatic difference. And if you each of us tell 10 other people, we are, we might very close to, coming third place or second place in ward elections. Not easy, but it's also simple.
Okay.
Great point. Absolutely. I think you hit the numbers perfectly well, Rajiv. There's a 20% gap between voting in assembly elections, Lok Sabha elections vis-a-vis the BBMP elections. And this is predominantly the urban middle class people like you and me, as you said. 20% of 40,000 voters in a ward is 8,000 votes. That's all that is needed to win the election. Absolutely
So now,
great point.
Yeah. So now moving from winning to after you have won, right? So Jalaluddin has asked a question primarily about, assuming you win the elections, how do you run a municipality without being pushed around by the government in power? In that sense, will it be possible to stay out of state level politics?
I think that's the easiest question to answer. People don't realize this, people don't know this, and that's the level of ignorance that the state government and the BBMP takes advantage of. The role of MLAs in BBMP is zero. As per the constitution of this country, as per the Karnataka Municipal Corporations Act, or as per even the new BBMP bill that's being drafted by the state government, the MLAs cannot have any say whatsoever in municipal governance. The only reason why corporators are subservient to the MLAs is not because they don't have the power to spend, not because they don't have the ability to do it. It's because they belong to the same party that the MLA comes from. And the moment they are from the same party, they have their own axe to grind. They have their own personal ambitions to take care of. So they are subservient to the MLAs. So they are subservient to the MLAs not because they are not granted powers as per the constitution of this country or as per the laws of the state. It's because of the party structure. Today, out of 198 corporators that are there, 100 are from BJP, 76 are from Congress, 14 are from JDS, and 8 are independents. And we've been doing a lot of work on the 198 wards, collecting information. We'll be going public with a lot of that in the next few weeks to few months. Interestingly, the 8 wards managed by the independents are the relatively better managed wards. The other 190 wards are in shambles. Even these 8 wards are in shambles. Relatively speaking, they're better off because they are not answerable within their party structure at all. And BBMP, while yes, there is a lot of grant that comes from the state government and the central government, but that's mandated by the constitution. More than 50% of the BBMP's resources are its own. The property tax that we pay goes to BBMP directly. State government has no role to play in that. The solid waste management cesses, license fees, and other cesses that we pay, they directly go to BBMP. The MLAs have no role to play whatsoever in that. So that's the least of the things that we are worried about. And even today, in every ward, in most of the wards, if you look at a 5-year period, the corporator is actually has the ability to influence anywhere between 50 to 100 crores. If you are able to influence that 50 to 100 crores in a transparent, in a clean, and in an actionable manner, I think we can bring about huge change to the city and to our respective localities. So that's actually the least of the things that worries us, right? The bigger problem is actually making sure that people come out and vote and make the good candidates and the good parties win.
I think Deepankar has raised his hand, so I will request him to pose the question directly. Deepankar, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I have been active in many ways with 2 organizations. One you mentioned, Whitefield Rising, and probably you are aware, called Force GW. But nevertheless, in few other ways, I have actually seen elections from very close quarters. I have seen the Now Bharat Party at the beginning, and then last assembly election, I was supporting a friend of mine who was Aam Aadmi Party candidate in C.V. Raman Nagar. So there are 2 things which I'm sure you are doing your homework, but I have seen that there are 2 challenge. One is getting a significant number of people who are well-meaning, capable, and ready to invest time in a substantial number. And second is, of course, the conversion of the votes. Now, of course, you mentioned about state election, local election, all of that. But I think AAP also for the previous election, I don't know how seriously they fought, and they got maybe 10, 15 votes each in each of the constituency.
So AAP did not contest the previous BBMP elections.
Or some individuals may have done. But
Sure.
my question is that given the fact that the numbers are, the numbers of good people, let's face it, with all three criteria limited, are you, completely close to a collaborative approach with some of the other organizations who may be at least on the right side of the politics? That is one. That will be one question. The second is, of course, as you said, constitutionally, the commissioner, the councillors are having power, and MLA MP doesn't have a role, but there is obviously an element of criminalization which is involved, which will definitely play a role because the money involved is very big, including the garbage mafia, which you talked about. So what's your plan for that? Because we have faced ourselves, we appointed a the MLA recommended guy, he was beaten up, the vehicle was damaged, and we were forced to go back to in our apartment, Purva Riviera. So what's your plan for that? Those sort of challenges which you will definitely face.
So Deepankar, thanks. I do know Force GW, Lingaraj, and Sampath extremely well. Yes, I know. I probably were referring to Mohan Dasri of Aam Aadmi Party, who contested from my own area, C.V. Raman Nagar, etc. Again, as I said, the MLA elections are very different from the municipal elections. Intrinsically, we are not going to align with any other party, nor are we opposed to any other party. As I said, we are here to unite the people of Bengaluru. We can't do that by aligning. Yes, you might have a perception that the party that you are supporting is a good, but then that's the case with the guy who's supporting the other party. He says that the party that I'm supporting is the better party. And we all know what we are talking of here, right? So there's no end to that debate. You can always keep arguing that my party is better, I'm on the right side of politics, and the person who's on the other side has every right to argue the same thing. So we are not here to debate who's doing the right things or who's doing the right set of things or who's doing the wrong set of things, or whether this party is on the right side or that party is on the right side. All that we are saying is, let's all unite under one cause. Let us not, as citizens of Bengaluru, let us not polarize ourselves. So that's where we are saying it brings us back to the same point. To us, it doesn't matter whether you're a BJP supporter or a Congress supporter or an Aam Aadmi Party supporter. As far as Bengaluru municipal elections are concerned, let's all unite. Let's vote under one umbrella. Let's bring governance by being united. When it comes to state level elections, national level elections, go back to your alignment. It doesn't matter at all, right? So that's the positioning that we are taking, and I think that's what we would want to retain. So that's one part that you talked about. Second part, this whole criminalization and all that, yes, there are nefarious elements in all these places. All that we are saying is, we don't want to go head on against them. If we find those elements, just step back, right? We don't want to win the elections at any cost. We want to put in the best efforts. If you're finding that there are people who are behaving, recklessly and all that, we just step back and focus on what we can do. And over a period of time, we can bring about that change. I think over the last 20 years, politics has continuously changed. I think the level of criminalization has come down quite significantly. The level of professionalism has definitely increased. Not that it's still at a level where, it's sort of completely professional or anywhere being close to completely professional, but things are changing. We've got to take it step by step. I don't think we can get worried by all these factors and say that, we should not get in at all. We got to make that that first step. We've got to take those incremental steps and keep crossing those hurdles as they come. I can look at the 400-meter hurdle race and say that, you know what, we have these 15 hurdles to cross. Let me not start the race. But we've got to start somewhere. And this effort is at starting that race. Take one hurdle by one hurdle. And who knows, if we have the stamina, if we have the ability to run the 400-meter hurdle in 1 minute, who knows? In the upcoming elections, we might have 40, 50, 100 people as corporators getting in there. That's the approach that we are taking, and you can't think too far ahead. The point is, as Ravi Shastri keeps saying in a cricket match, if you're chasing a score of 500, take it over by over, right? Thinking about chasing a 500 score or a 400 score and then getting bogged down right at the beginning, I don't think it's going to work. So that's the limited point. And Deepakar, I understand where you're coming from. We've all been part of the same battles in Bangalore. Suffice it to say that many of us have been directly involved in those as part of these various citizen groups and civic groups. I can't say that we know fully well what we are getting into, but I don't think we are blindly getting into it either.
So Srikanth, there is one question from Venkatesh Srinivasan. I think Venki Srinivasan, if I'm not wrong. Can BNP tap into CSR budgets of corporates or raise money through electoral bonds?
Yeah, we can. And I think there are a bunch of questions that I saw earlier, Deepu, saying, why do we need money? Is a question that came through. Let me answer that first so that people understand why we need money and why we need 20 crores. And the mathematics is fairly simple. We have 200 wards. If we spend 10 lakhs in every ward, 200 wards into 10 lakhs is actually 20 crores. It's a very simple math. And if we were to look at running an election campaign for, let's say, 6 months, if we have to hire, let's say, field staff who can distribute brochures, if we were to hire, let's say, one telecalling person, and let's say if we were to print pamphlets and brochures and all of that, 1 month is 1 lakh rupees at the minimum. Probably it's more, but I'm just saying 1 lakh. Into 6 months is 6 lakhs. 6 lakhs into 200 wards is 12 crores. Not that we will contest all the wards, or we don't know whether we'll contest all the wards, but the idea is to see if we can contest all the wards, right? But that itself is 12 crores. And on top of that, if we have to do some advertising and spending money on central level hoardings and all of that, it'll probably cost us another 2 to 3 crores. And we are embarking on another exercise that I can't talk about in detail right now, but we are engaging in each ward in detailed ward level infrastructure mapping. Each ward takes about 1 lakh. 200 wards into 1 lakh is 2 crores. That itself will take us to something like 16, 17 crores. And we also need some money to last the course for the next 5 years. That's, let's say, another 2, 3 crores. So to answer your question, 6 months of on the ground activity, plus some advertising and branding that we need to do, plus some ward level infrastructure mapping, asset mapping that we need to do, plus some fuel that we need to have for the next few years, means that we need a minimum of 20 crores. Can we tap into CSR? I'm not very sure about that. But again, if I look at it, right, the way we are looking at it is one part of the money that we are looking to raise is, let's say, each ward, if you're able to tap into about, let's say, 1,000 people who can contribute 100 rupees each month, that gives us 1 lakh, right? That will take care of the ward level money that we need. But for the larger level money, if we have people, let's say, we are thinking, if we have about, let's say, 1,000 people, right, who can contribute tens of thousands of rupees and running into a few lakhs, that will take us to the rest of the budget that we are looking at. So we need a lot of money, contrary to what people might think, without even having to buy votes. And people need to understand this, that in ward level elections, the money that the likes of, let's say, the BJPs and the Congress, they put out is actually a few crores per ward. They spend a few crores per ward, right? That's a different ball game altogether. We are talking of about spending, let's say, about, on an average, about 10 lakhs per ward, out of which, let's say, about 6-7 lakhs might go into the ward itself, and the balance will go into some central level spending. And for that, we have to tap into crowdfunding, we have to tap into high net worth individuals, and we have to tap into people like, and let me be very open and shameless to all of you here. We need a lot of you to also chip in with whatever you can. If each person can bring in a few lakhs of rupees through yourself and through your network, and the IIM network can afford that, that's something that we would need. And yes, we are also looking at seeing if we can tap into CSR funds and electoral bonds, but all of that will keep building on as we build credibility. Rajiv and Sridhar, you can add anything more there?
Sure,
I think Hari Natarajan has raised his hand, so I'll just unmute Hari so that he can pose his question. Hi Hari, you are.
No, Deepu, I think that that was by mistake. I've asked all my questions on chat.
Okay. No.
So hi Hari. Yes, indeed, Hari is from the same batch as I and Rajiv are. So after this call, I'm expecting Hari to contribute at least 1 crore to the party.
Only.
I muted him so that his answer is obviously, we can treat silence as a positive answer.
Hari, your target is 1 crore, in case you didn't hear that.
So anyway, Satya Teja has asked one question. In India, we don't give much importance to local governments. For example, many people don't even know mayors in their cities. And financially also, local governments have limited resources to raise funds. So do we need many systemic reforms in local governments? How are you planning to increase awareness about the importance of local governments? I think you have addressed this in various ways earlier, but I think,
Yeah, actually, local governments don't have limited resources. They have, I would say, unlimited resources. BBMP annual budget is 10,000 crores, which they spend for the city. So there's a lot of money available. In terms of governance, it's ultimately Bengaluru being the largest contributor to the GDP of the state and a significant contributor to the GDP of this country. Obviously, politicians don't want to let go of that pie, but the BBMP pie is something which can be put to good use at the local government level. I think I think I did answer that question a little while earlier.
Okay, I think Lalitamba is also reiterating what you said. That corporators had spent over 3 crores in winning elections for one particular ward, right? So Sridhar is asking another question about how you can go about raise funds. He's suggesting contacting Bangaloreans abroad as a good means to raise funds. Have you done that? Or is that on the cards?
See, I think our lookout is for, if you're living in the city, you probably have a greater commitment to the city and, the desire to help and contribute. So I'm not sure that, whilst definitely people who are NRIs will be still concerned with the city, they will be definitely what I would say as the next level of our interest. It's not that we are saying anybody, see, anybody who has a love for the city, anybody who wants the city to be better than it is now and who wants to go back to the times when they were growing up here and it was such a wonderful city, I'm sure they would like to contribute. But if I'm living in Chicago and my children are there and everything is there, so I don't know whether my interest in Bangalore will be as high as somebody who's living in Jayanagar. So that's really the, the choice that we have to make.
So I think we have already extended our session by about, we have another 4 minutes to go. So we have already extended beyond the 1 hour that we planned initially. So in case there is 1 or 2 last questions, probably we can take that. Otherwise, I would request all 3 of you to share your views on how people on this, in this web meeting can contribute to the BNP cause. What do you expect of us, right? So, since we are here, it would be good to hear what you expect from all of us and how you think we can contribute.
So let me make the investment banking spiel. I've been an investment banker, have helped a lot of companies raise a lot of money over the last 15, 20 years. Making the same appeal to the people. If each of us can reach through to our network, and the beauty of the IIM network is many of us are financially well off. Many of us can afford to contribute a fair chunk. When I say a fair chunk, let me not be presumptuous, but I'm saying we can contribute anywhere from a few tens of thousands of rupees to a few lakhs of rupees, depending on our relative and respective affordability. And on top of that, if we can tap into just our close-knit circle of friends that we have, all that we are saying is if each person can commit to bringing, this of course is assuming that you believe in the cause, this is assuming that you want to contribute to the cause, which is what we are hoping many people will do, then let's take up, at a smaller level, if each person can bring in, I don't know, even 5 lakhs of rupees, and all that it takes is to tap into 5 or 10 of our respective friends in our circles. Today, that's how we are doing it at our, at the party level itself. About 25 to 30 people have contributed almost 50 lakhs to the party so far, right? And that's a fairly significant chunk. And this comes from people who have created a good, nice savings nest for themselves and their families, can afford to, contribute that few tens of thousands of rupees to that, few lakhs of rupees to the cause. That's what we would urge you to look at as well. And the other thing is, of course, volunteering. There are a lot of things that we can do as an IIM community in terms of, we would like to arrange town halls, webinars like these, in, let's say, some of the corporates where we want to spread the message of municipal elections. Forget about BNP. The importance of municipal elections and why the educated people need to come out and vote during the BBMP elections. And I think the problem starts there. The reason why Bengaluru is in shambles is because people like you and me, forget about participating in governance. People like you and me do not go out and vote during the BBMP elections. We are not talking of the people who do not vote in any elections. We are talking of people who vote in the Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha elections, as Rajiv alluded to, but do not vote in the BBMP elections. And over and above that, if we can convince other people to come out and vote, and we need to tap into the corporate network for that, if we can spread the message of the BBMP election and get them to come out and vote. So 2 things that we can do, right? Spread the message for people to come out and vote during the BBMP elections and hopefully to BNP. And secondly, if we can, each of us can take a few lakhs of rupees as a target and get that in, or let's say even 1 lakh as a target to start with, everything adds up. That's all that I'd want to put. Probably Rajiv, if you want to add anything more on top of that, would be great.
I just wanted to add one point to whatever Shrikant said. I think the most important thing that we want from you, and I'm here talking from a branding perspective, is what we call as word of mouth. See, not enough people know about what we are doing or what our objectives are. If you could just share it with your batchmates, with your sphere of contact, with your WhatsApp groups, in terms of there is such a thing, and we will also be approaching you at the time of the municipal elections to get people to actually register and go out and vote. So to my mind, one of the greatest things is to have a few people sharing that such a thing is happening and how each and every one of us can play a small part in its development. I think that is very key to us. And I believe the IIM network is a very powerful network, and your batches, your groups, and both on WhatsApp and Google can be extremely important to the spreading and dissemination of our messages. I think that's very critical to us.
Yeah, just two things. I think just a few days ago, a client of mine used the word frogs. Maybe it is jargon that has been around for some time. It was new to me, to think of networks, right? So he said frogs is, cascading the message with friends, relatives, and your organization, which means the company that you're in. G, the geo, which means your neighbors, the street that you live in, the community that you live in, and S being social, which is like Sridhar said, WhatsApp groups as well as your social. So if you could follow PNP on the relevant social media forum that you are in, and then you could question that. Very specifically, one thing we are building is given that there are IIMB alumni, Srikanth is IIMB alumni, Sridhar is, we're looking at building batch level SPOCs or batch leads.
Yeah.
And we're looking to sign folks up, and it's no big deal. All you are a conduit of communication, whether that communication relates to messaging about the party, initiatives, events, or helping in fundraising. You just are the conduit for your batch. So whether you're PGP, whether you're EGMP, whether you're AMP or MPWE, whatever program, and if you have a little bit of enthusiasm and a very little time, then would love for you to reach out and help us with that.
Thank you,
and pass on the message to all your friends and stuff, because there are only so many people who can come onto the call. Yeah.
Right. So I think there is one more question. I think this could be the last question, and then probably we can close. So Rahul, I'm just unmuting you so that you can ask the question directly. Hi Rahul, you have been, you can ask the question directly. I think we lost him. So anyway, so I think part of it was answered earlier, so which was connected to low electoral turnout. He was asking, has the team made any work on electoral rolls, as they are the basis of any election?
Yeah.
And the second question is, connected to partyless. So what is the view of panel members on partyless elections for local bodies and panchayats, as this is being tried in some states in the country? So this is from Rahul. He's an IAS officer from the IIMB fraternity.
Partyless elections at the local municipal level is something as a concept which is nice, but practically speaking, will the current political parties allow that to happen? I don't think so. Second, in the context of India, where a lot of votes are still being bought, particularly in the municipal elections, we might actually make it counterproductive if we make it partyless. I think we are still some way away from making it partyless. As a concept, as an idea, probably we can look at it for the future. I don't think we are yet ready for that. In fact, the way this whole movement started in BNP was actually we trying to see if we could get independent, good citizens contesting as independents. But then we realized that it takes too much of effort for an individual to contest against the big parties. That's really why we said we have to make this as a party. But as a concept, I agree with Rahul. It's a very interesting concept. Should be tried out at some point. I don't think, practically speaking, it's going to happen in the near future. And hence, we also don't have a choice but to have a full-fledged party in which we have to do this. That's really my view and take on that.
Thank you. I think we have overshot our time as well. So, and it is almost time to conclude. So thank you, Srikanth, Sridhar, and Rajiv for taking your time out to explain, the vision of PNP and what you intend to do. I'm sure that the IMB folks would hopefully rally behind you, and you will get a lot of volunteers to work for this noble cause. And whoever is willing to volunteer, there's a form that has been put in the chat. Please use that to express your interest, and the team will reach out to you. You can also look them up on LinkedIn, or in case you want to connect, you can mail back to me. My mail ID would be available with most of you now. That is a mail ID from which the meeting invite came. So please feel free to do that. And thank you for the session, Srikanth, Sridhar, and Rajiv.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Deepu, for hosting this.
Really good. Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thanks to everyone for joining.
Thank you all.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining, and hope you make a better Bangalore eventually. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.